up, you guys? Marty Schwartz here from GuitarJams.com. Hope you guys are doing great out there. This is a follow-up from my last lesson, talking about kind of jazzing up or spicing up some basic chords. So this time I'm doing the blues chord, a dominant 7 chord. There's so much you can do with it, so I'm trying to limit how much I show you in this one video. Also, I come from a website called GuitarJams.com. And so I'm going to leave a link for that down here below this box, and you can always go there and find even more lessons and, premium content and all that. And I really appreciate that extra support. But let's zoom in right now, and I'm going to show you some fancy, spicy, bluesy stuff you can do to your chords. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to spice up an A7 chord for you, and I think the real trick for this video is to just show you a few of them so you can really understand them, and then I'll make part 2s and 3s, because spicing up dominant 7 chords and blues chords, you can do so much, and I love it all. So I'm going to try and limit how much I show you in one video, because it could overwhelm you. So let's take an A7 bar chord. It's just like an A major bar chord, but we take our pinky off, and now we have a bluesy chord. So a couple of things that you can do to spice that up instead of, you have that always, but that same 7 tone can be added, which it's a G note. The dominant 7 of an A is a G note. And it's right there on the 8th fret of the B string. So you can play an A7 this way, or you can add that pinky, or you can do a combination. Okay. The other thing, though, is there's this thing called the 13, which could also be called the 6th. But watch, if I go up this dominant scale, you could call it A mixolydian. When I reach 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, or, well, yeah, so that's called the 13. You can add that instead of that note, or in a combination, plus with it off. That's all the land of A7. And if you know the land of A7, you can see how it fits right in there. All right? The next thing I want to show you, and you can always do this as a little rhythm embellishment, is play you can play this like D major bar chord as tension that then releases back to that A7. Even if a bass player was just playing like an A blues groove, you can always go. And so I'm just taking that D bar chord, D major bar chord, and then hammering back onto that A7. All right, 2 more things I'm going to show you, and then we're going to stop there because I'm already showing you a lot. The next thing, and these are all bass. In other words, you can just substitute and add any of this stuff. When you see the letter A7, anything I've just showed you can be can be substituted and combined. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is the A13 chord, but like my favorite voicing of it. Okay, so you can still think of it that way. We're going to use our index finger on that root, which is the A note. And that index finger is conveniently muting the A string. Middle finger is going to be on the same fret on the D string, so 5th fret of the D string. Ring finger is going to be on the 6th of the G. Pinky is going to be on the 7th of the B. And that pinky or my index, or combination of them, is kind of muting that high E. You don't hear it. If you were to press down, that's okay, but it's just a pretty busy chord. Either one of them, though, you call that A13. So that would be called the 13 voicing. Much jazzier way to play an A7 chord is playing that chord. Okay, let me show you the final thing. And we're going to call this A9, which you might have seen up here with the root on the A string. That is part of everything I've just taught you, but we're just focused on this one root on the E string right now, and we'll go through other stuff later in another video. So this final thing, we're still thinking of everything the same. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to forget the E string altogether and not play it. We're just going to imagine that that root note's still ringing out. Okay? Now you could, use your thumb in case you really want it. But what we're doing now is we're basically just, you could call it an inversion, which means the first note of the chord is not the root, but it's still implied. The idea is that is ringing underneath by a bass player, or you're just hearing it with your ear even though it's not there because of what else is going on. So we're thinking of the root right here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put our index finger right here, which is the major third of A C-sharp note. We're going to put our index there. So remember, I'm still thinking of that root, but now I'm getting this one. Then ring finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the D string. Then 4th fret with my middle finger on the G string. Doesn't really sound like an A blues chord, does it really? It will, don't worry. And then finally, with our pinky finger, we're going to cover the 5th fret of the B, but even better, cover that root up top. So now what we're doing is we're playing the root on top. Now, some of you that have taken a lot of guitar lessons or exploring jazz, you might go, wait, Marty, isn't that a C-sharp minor 7 flat 5, or isn't that a C-sharp half diminished? Yeah, it's the exact same thing, except the difference is it's an A9 when A is in the root. And it's a C-sharp half diminished when the C-sharp's in the root. But you don't have to worry about that. We're only talking about A7. So now, let me show you that voicing one more time. The root's right here. 4th on the A, 5th on the D, 4th on the G, 5th on the B and high E. And that is an A9 chord. It's the exact same notes in a different combination than the A9 up here. Same exact chord. Okay? So now let me review. We took an A7 chord, which is like an A major bar chord. We took our pinky off. Then we learned with the pinky off, we could add it up here on the 8th fret of the B, or right here on the 7th fret of the B, or open. We also learned that we could play a D bar chord as tension that then releases back to the A7. The next thing I showed you was, if I remember correctly, the A13 chord, which is just another substitution in this little land here. And that would be root on the index on the root, A string's muted, 5th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G, 7th fret on the B, and then 7th fret on the high E. Or mute that high E. I prefer muting the high E. And then the final thing I showed you, which was definitely one of my favorite chords, is that 9 chord, where you're plugging it in by finding the root, the A note here on the E string, but then we're not even playing it. We just know that's the root. And then we're going to do this. 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, 5th. All right? Now watch what happens. I take a major chord, and then I play the 13 chord, then I play that 9 chord, and I mix between those. All right, so you can always go back and review this stuff, but watch what happens when I do that. But then when we go to the 4 chord, you know, like in an A blues, you'd have all that same stuff switching to D. So you do everything, but by finding the D root on the E string, which is right there on the 10th fret. So watch, I'll combine them, and you'll hear, oh, okay, there's quite a bit to do, isn't there? All right, there was. Hope you got something from it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And if you've been watching me for a long time, an extra special thank you to you for all the support and changing my life. So thank you. Always, the link down there for the website, and I appreciate that as well. And can't wait to show you some more stuff as soon as I can. So hopefully we'll see you there.